Hello, I'm very happy to welcome today in the KPMG Romania studio Greg Limp, our global head of family offices and private clients.
Hi.
And I'm happy to have a conversation with you about various important factors which can influence family businesses, family offices, how to structure them. And maybe to start with my first question, what is it about the timing when to start thinking about building or making, creating a family office?
It's a great question to start with, and it's one that we get asked a lot. There genuinely isn't a real time or a position when somebody really understands when to do it. It normally creeps up on you, and you start to think maybe I should have done something sooner. The key point we tend to see is some form of liquidity event or some form of realization of cash that causes people to think about what the structure is. And that could mean them looking at doing something different to what's already been involved in the normal business and the normal business environment that they operate in. And we tend to find that most family offices will start with wealth somewhere in the region of 100 million plus euros. And the higher the wealth gets, the more sophisticated that family office will generally be. But there's no one size fits all with family offices, and that's sometimes what intrigues people to look into family offices, but also makes them difficult to understand for people who don't often operate within this world.
Very often, one of the struggles or the challenges any business has, but particularly also family businesses, is how do they ensure that they have the right capabilities within their leadership teams, management teams? Is this one of the key challenges for them?
It is. And yeah, what you often find is that families, as they're going through this evolution of creating the family office, they need to look at what they're wanting to achieve with the family office. Is it something that's going to be an investment vehicle for the family going forward? Is it something that's still going to be actively involved within the family business? What members of family do we need to bring in and involve within this? And equally, what level of outside influence do you want to bring in as well? And you'll often find that a mixture of all these things will bring it together. And often you'll find the start of the family office, there's already somebody within the family business or the main trading business who's already been looking after some of the affairs of the family members. And they will often become employee number one of the family office. And that starts to then build through there. And we generally call these types of these types of entities or this types of transition as building the embedded family office and building out from there.
So a family office basically should not be like created like, okay, let's give the second generation something to play with and then they will build it up. You rather would say it's better to start really professionally from the very beginning and seek also outside advice with regards to the setting up.
I think if you can do that, that's obviously the best way to do it. But as I say, you often find that these things creep up on people. And I think what often comes to be the point is that at some stage during the evolution of the family office, I would always recommend, and yeah, as a professional, yeah, I'm bound to say this, but I would always recommend that you do seek some outside guidance, some professional support, bring in external learning as to what's gone on and how other families have gone through this journey. And yeah, you will find that there will be some similarities to where you want to be as a family, but equally, you will find that there is some level of other piece that a professional view will bring that will allow you to get to the best model for you and your family.
So if you look at the culture, I guess family offices, family businesses have different cultures than normal corporations, right? How are they dealing with the recent influence of being much more agile than 10, 20 years ago?
I think it's it's easy to say that they will be different to a lot of other organizations. And I don't think you can paint all family offices or all businesses with the same brush. Yeah, some of the family offices and some of the family businesses I work with have best in class cultures and approaches, very similar to what a large corporation and a large organization will do. And yeah, you'll often find that by then looking at what they've got and what they do, bringing in some of that external help and support, this helps them actually create their own culture, their own identity. And there is a saying in the family office world, and it's very much the same with family businesses, that once you've seen one family office, that's all you've seen because every single one will be different. And that's what you've got to look at and think, and not necessarily think that I want to copy what they're doing. I want this to be the best for me and my family. And yeah, if you look at large organizations and large corporations, they're generally very good at bringing in external support.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that can be really learned in the family office and the family business world.
So I fully understand. So family businesses and family offices depend on a lot of things. How many generations, how many kids are in, is the spouse in, is the spouse not in, and so on. That's why you say you see only one single approach and you cannot copy it, right?
Yeah, we all have different families, and yeah, yeah, all our families are different, and yeah, as we look at my family compared to yours, it will run and operate dynamically, yeah, in different ways as to where that is, and that's exactly the same with family offices. And whilst it's a phrase I hate, it sometimes is something that we have to bring forward and bring out so people do understand that, and recognize that as to how they have to take things forward.
So, what would be the first steps needed if a family considers making a family office for their investments? I mean, are there some efficiency criteria, or what is there at the very beginning?
It's generally a desire to do something different. It will start with something that will often be new. And as I say, you often see these embedded family offices that start where somebody within the business has been helping the family out. They may have been doing some bookkeeping. They may have been filing their personal tax returns. They may have been just managing the personal bank accounts. But it's generally something that will start to evolve wider than that, which is when these start to come in, Renee, in that sense. And how this then generates itself forward from there is a big challenge where many do find. And it's about looking at which bits, and it's often the fact that you want to invest the money more widely, the money that you have, and you don't have that expertise. So do you bring in that expertise internally, or do you externally go and look for that and then have a system and a process that manages what those external advisors are doing and working on from there? Equally, are you wanting to expand? Is the family in other territories? Do the children now go to school in Paris or go to school in London or New York? And what impact does this have on things? And these are the building blocks that you start to pull together to work out what is the best course of action for that family and for the family office to start to build around those building blocks.
And I guess it's also fair to say that likely what a classical entrepreneur dislikes, like procedures, governance, and all these things, are also at the very forefront or at the start of it. Because if you build up a family office, you start thinking over generations, right? And you want to have this somehow assured that processes are right and decisions are taken right.
I think that's a really important point as to where that is. Many people feel that by having a family office, they can almost turn away from that corporate world that they've become used to and they've dealt with all the time. And things like governance are words that don't need to be there. But every single successful family office has and needs some form of governance, some form of process, some form of procedures to make it work and operate. And you often find, and this is again something that we see in many situations that we're brought in to look at or we encounter, that the client will run and operate a business that has best in breed in terms of what it does and how it operates. Often, the family money, the family office, that is then is then separate to the family business. It's run literally like an extension of their personal bank account. No checks, no procedures, no governance, no controls. And this is where people then start to see that bigger problems come in. And this is why I often feel that at the very early stage, if you get these principles put down and you get that governance and that process done correctly at the very beginning, that builds and breeds the best run and best delivering family offices for people to look at and work on.
I'm often talking to entrepreneurs who are taking in the second generation, and very often discussion is then about the remuneration. So should that person get the remuneration an external would get for the same job, or just participate in the family's dividend proceeds every year, or what do you see there as state of the art?
So you do see some mixed, outcomes from that as this goes forward, and often again it will come down to what is the overarching principle that the family are wanting to do, and many will have a constitution that will set out many of these principles. So it could be that if you're working in the family business, you get paid a salary, and if you have a sibling, a sister who's working in the family business and a brother who's chosen not to do, then sure, that sister should be paid the market rate for what she is doing. They can share equally in the dividends and reap the rewards of what the business overall is doing, but the family principles will normally guide that somebody who is working in the business would get more than somebody else. I have other families who have a totally opposite view, and everybody, regardless of what they do, gets an amount from the family pot. Mm-hmm. And you've just got to work out what fits best for where you are wanting to go. We equally have some families who insist on people working externally, to bringing external thinking back into the business. And that's another reason why they want to make sure that everybody is treated equally, because it might be that somebody is investing in the business's future by taking a more junior or a lower paid job somewhere else, that they can then bring in that thinking into the family business or into the family office, and everybody benefits from the back of that learning.
So if you have, let's say, somebody who is leading a family office, external, very often, and if you also look at movies, they're always shown accountants or a lawyer. Is this really the classical person running such a show, or are these actually former bankers or portfolio managers, or what is a classical person in that position?
Again, it's back to this point of once you've seen one, that's all you've seen. You will often find there is some person who just fits that family office like a missing puzzle piece. And you talked rightly about where most of those people will come from. You often find, though, that it will be somebody who's evolved with the business over time, who comes in and is that person who is really driving things forward and moving things on for the family. But there is a general view that it will normally be either an accountant, a lawyer, or somebody who's worked in the financial services world that will bring things through from there.
Okay. So if we look a bit into some trigger points in this lifetime of a family office. So what are the top risks you see when one generation introduces a new one and starts maybe thinking about transferring responsibilities, afterwards wealth? So what are the main challenges?
I think what you often find is that people rush in to the generational wealth transfer. And there's been many surveys done over the last 5 or 10 years, purporting about the amount of wealth that will pass from the current wealth holders down to the next generation. Sums in the region of $15 trillion and above and beyond of that there. And many are saying that this will happen in the next 10 years. In practice, we're not seeing this happening as yet. And I think that this is because you are seeing many people, these are big decisions. Passing the wealth down and transferring that wealth down to the next generation is probably one of the biggest decisions anybody makes. Apply this to your own personal thinking as to what you do with your own wealth and how you pass that on to your own children. It's a big decision, and many people want to make sure that they do it right. And I have an adage here, and my father was a carpenter, and I was brought up as a child that whenever you are doing anything, you measure twice, you cut once. You can't go back once you've made that cut. Mm-hmm. And I think that many people, when you actually apply some of this thinking as to what you're trying to do with this generational wealth transfer, those principles apply the same. Make sure that what you do it and you're doing it right. Equally, on the other side, we see people who wait far too long before they do it. They want to put off those decisions. They want to put off those conversations. They're difficult conversations to have. And what you often find is that by waiting so long, you lose the impact and you lose the benefit of what good financial stewardship can bring. Mother and father teaching son and daughter That's incredibly important. And it's the same when you pass down the wealth to the next generation. You want to see how they do it. It's a bit like, it's a bit like when children are growing up, they are allowed certain boundaries. They're allowed to go to the end of the street to go out and play. Gradually as they get older, they're given a further length at which they can go. And it's exactly the same sometimes with financial stewardship as to what you do. You want to give the next generation something to see how they perform with it, see what they do with it. Does it change them? Does it make them better? Does it make them worse? So that's the bit that's got to be there. And if people aren't having those conversations or doing it, then generally it goes wrong at some stage. And back to my adage of the cuts, it doesn't always have to be one cut. You can make cuts, various pieces. You can take a piece of wood and cut it into lots of small pieces. Still a piece of wood at the beginning. It's only when it gets to the end that it becomes a scrap. So think about that. Think about what the journey needs to be, but just make sure that as the custodian and the steward of that wealth that you're looking to pass down to the next generation, you help educate and put put the family into the best position.
Very often I see that founders start thinking of a family office only when they start thinking of transferring. But I guess this is very late. Out of experience, I see that, okay, look, in 1 year, 2 years, I want to transfer and so on. I think this is a much more lengthy process on building a family office and then handing over, right?
And building a family office should always be an evolution, not a revolution. It should be something that evolves over time as well. So the family office that a family create on day one will never be like the family office that it's like in 5-10 years time, because there will be processes that are brought in. You may have members of the family who come in and get more involved in there. And typically, we often see now that that family offices are emerging and are being rather than the family businesses of 30-40 years ago that would be how family wealth was always controlled. The family business now becomes the family office, and it's just a different way of evolving that and bringing that into bear and allowing that to do. But certainly what you start with at day one will never be what you end up with in the future, and it will be that period of evolution that will build the correct family office.
So nowadays in the family offices you are consulting, what are top of the challenges, or what do you consult? What are their main questions? As is it rather about governance, because this can also change over time, right? Is it about locations? What is it?
I think if I was to bring in the top three, location and where that family office should be is something that's always at the top of the list of things we discuss. And that's down to the dynamic nature of a lot of the families. It's back to this point, the family moves. There is no longer families who are just centered in Bucharest. They will have children who are around the world, and the families spread. And as families expand, you bring in more and more locations, and sometimes the location that was chosen might not be the right place. And sometimes the location has to be where there is a need for services as well. But the main box where the wealth is and where that is located is a big decision. The second piece that we often find around is, what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? What are other families doing? And that's bringing in that consulting mindset and that consulting approach that comes in to make sure that this works for the family. What can we do? How can we improve where this is? Mm-hmm. I think the third thing then comes down to is how do we make sure that the wealth is put to good use and for the better, not only of the family, but also for society as a whole. And we're seeing a large number of families now actually carving out parts of the family wealth, having it as part of the family office and the family office architecture and culture, but really putting that to good use for better for the family. And that could be in terms of helping individual members, promote philanthropy and something that's really passionate to them as individuals. Or it could be that it's just a fund that is growing that will provide and help in the local community or back into the environment where the family initially made their money. But I would say they were the top three that we would see, René, in that sense.
Okay. So nowadays, what is the trend? If a founder family owns businesses of significant magnitude, they do an exit or they look for an exit necessarily, or they are still thinking of handing it over to the next generation and having a multi-generational approach. So what is the trend if you compare it to like 10, 20 years ago?
And I think this is a key point, and it's back to why family offices have now become so prevalent and so at the front of such at the forefront of where people are now thinking about, and so more so more noticeable. And I think what led to the explosion of these, perhaps over the last 20, 30 years, going a bit further than your 10 or 20 years, is this increase in liquidity that's come in from the private markets, the abilities for businesses to be listed on a stock exchange, or private equity coming in and buying businesses that would often have gone through generational change. The lure of that money, the size of that check that people can cash and take, and actually think, well, the family might not evolve into into the business or become involved in the business, but we can take this pot of money and utilize it for the better for the family and create a family vehicle that will then become the family office. That's what's that's what's driving that, and that's what's changing this, and this is what has led to this explosion of family offices being created over the last 20 years or so.
Yeah. Thank you very much for all these
Pleasure.
very valuable insights.
Thanks for having me, and great to be here.
Thank you.